Hey everybody, it's James from Wealthquest, and today we're going to talk about financial guilt. Boy, and that's such a great topic to kick your weekend off with. Actually, I'm really excited about this one. So we've all experienced financial guilt at some point in our lives. Throughout the years, you make mistakes, you feel that twinge of guilt that comes in that says, oh, I shouldn't have spent that money, or I really made a mistake there. And that actually can serve us. A lot of times financial guilt can be valuable. Things like buyer's remorse, when you spend money on something that you realize wasn't what you thought it would be, or cost more than it should have, or whatever the case may be, you learn from that mistake and you grow. The problem is when that financial guilt gets hidden. When we have that mistake and we start to hide those mistakes from those that we love, and over time, that guilt actually then changes to shame. And shame is really where the problem lies. Guilt says I did something wrong. Shame says there's something wrong with me. And once we trip into that level of self-judgment when it comes to our finances, it's really hard to escape. So if you have a lot of credit card debt, or you've run up a bunch of back taxes, or you're late in getting your tax information in and you're years behind on filing, all of those things feed on themselves because you feel ashamed of those things. And so you just kind of shrink into isolation. You don't take action towards progress. Shame is really the problem. And so how do we get ahead of it? Well, if you listen to Brene Brown, who's one of the experts on shame, she says that the antidote to shame is vulnerability. What we've got to do is talk about it. We've got to be sharing those mistakes and having conversations with the ones that we love, our spouses, our family, but also with our financial advisors. How do we actually move forward? How do we start to make progress on the mistakes that we've made and start to get free from the shame that can kind of keep us trapped? The second piece I always like to encourage people to do is recognize what it's really costing. A lot of times we take these mistakes and we blow them out of proportion and make them feel like they're irreparable, that somehow we've gone too far and everything's going to fall apart. Many times that's not the case. And so if you really understand what the cost of that mistake is, without a lot of self-judgment, then you can start to move forward. And that's really the third step. Start to take the actions necessary to make progress, to repair that mistake, and more than anything, to avoid making that same mistake again. One of the things that's most valuable about these mistakes is if we pull them out into the light, we examine them, we understand what happened, why we made that decision, what we would do differently in the future, then we actually start to grow and we get better at handling our money.